creating a to-do app. So this is a very common use case, especially if you're still learning how to program, purely because within this application you will learn the fundamentals of creating, reading, and updating and deleting data. So with this application currently, I try to make it as bare bone as possible, and we will not be using a database. Instead, we are going to be keeping the tasks inside a set of lists. So we are going to create two lists. One list is going to hold the current tasks, and then the other list is going to hold the completed tasks. So I'm going to show you a proof of concept where we are just going to basically create a list of tasks. So I'm just going to say wash my clothes, and we add, then I'm going to create another one, iron the clothes, and then I'm going to create another one which will say let's just say sweep the backyard, and we are going to click on add, and then I'm going to mark this as complete. I'll mark this as complete, and then I'm going to delete this one. So that is basically how the application works. So let's just jump into creating it. Now we are going to be using FlutterFlow. FlutterFlow is a no-code, low-code software created by the people at Google, and it's supposed to be a low-level abstraction of the Flutter framework. I love using this tool purely because it has a lot of benefits, and it makes creating mobile apps a lot easier, which can also then be used as web applications because the code base translates both to a web application and also a mobile app. So we're going to give it a name, and we're just going to name this one to do one, and we're going to click on create. So okay, let's just remove that. And normally in Flutter, I forgot because I'm so used to using Python, you use camel case. So we're going to skip, and here we are in our application. So this part I'm going to skip through it a bit quickly because with creating the UI, it's pretty easy if you do have a background, and you can just simply follow along. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select the app bar. If it doesn't work when you click over here to select the app bar, and you can tell whether it's selected by checking over here on the properties panel, you can come here to the widget tree, where by clicking on the actual app bar itself, it's going to get highlighted in a shade of green. So I'm going to change the background color to yellow. So we're going to go down to warning, and I'll close that, and then I am going to change the title that is here, and I am just going to write in to do app. Mind you, I know I'm spelling it incorrectly, but just bear with me. Okay, cool. So we've created that. Now the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to jump into creating our UI. So our UI is going to consist basically of a text field, a button, and two containers that are going to then hold the items that we are going to create. One in the completed tasks, list of tasks, and then of course we are going to have the tasks that have just been created. Now to do that, what we are going to do first is we're going to add in a row, and then this row is then going to contain, or let me just wrap this around a container. So wrap widgets container, and then I'm going to click on the container, and I will set the width to 100%. I'm going to change the full color. No, I'm just going to leave it as is. Instead, I'm going to click on home page, and then I'm going to click on background color, and I'm going to set it to white, which is going to be the secondary background. If that's not the case, then you can just come in you have a color picker over here, and you can just place it right there in the top left hand corner. That's usually where white is. And then you can deselect this. We're going to come back here to the container, and then we're going to add in this row a text field. So you're going to search for text field in here, and then you're going to add in a button. So you're going to click on this icon again, and then you're going to select a button, and there we go. So just to neaten this up, I am going to decrease the width. So I'll just change it to percentage, and I'll set it to 40, because we don't really need a large text field. Okay, it's not adjusting. Okay, so we'll leave it as that. And then this, we are going to change this to add, and then we're going to change the background color. What color did I use here? I used this green, so I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to use a secondary green as the color for the fill, and I will keep that as add, and I will add an icon here down in the icon properties. You're going to click on this button. The right icon for add is obviously going to be the addition sign, and there we go. Let me just double check as to why. So it's probably because it's set to this. What you want to do is you need to click over here so that it actually listens to the parameters that you have set. Then you're going to select the row, and you can then change this to space evenly. Now mind you, this is a small text field, I must say, so maybe we can just change this to 50, but I don't want to fuss too much over UI, so I'm going to just skip through that. I'll change this to 25. So I selected the container, and then I just brought this a bit down. Next, we are then going to add in the two containers, which are going to contain our list views. So I'm going to add the first container. I'm going to set the width to infinity, and then inside here I am going to add in a column, and then within this column I'm going to first add in a text field, and I will select the container, and I'm going to add a padding of 25 so we can space it up from there. And I will select this, and this is going to say tasks. Now once we've done that, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to select the column, and inside this column what we'd like to do is we'd like to add in another container. So before we do that, let's just increase the size of the container right now currently, which contains all of this. So what we can do is we can just rename this basically to not complete, let's just say tasks container, just to decrease the confusion. Then we are going to come back over here into our column. So my bad, we need to increase the size. To increase the size, you can purely just drag this up until it's maybe around here, or whilst this container is selected, you can scroll down and you can change the height. Now purely because I like everything rounded off, I'm going to keep that at 300. I'm going to select the column yet again, and then inside here what I'm looking to do is to add a container. So we're going to add the container, and then once we've added the container, we are just going to increase the width to 100% yet again, and then we are going to make this basically about to 150. 150 should be fine. So I'm going to select over here the height, and I'm going to set that to 150, and then within this I'm going to click to add in a list view. So we're going to select list view, and then boom, and within the list view itself we are then going to create the next component, which is then going to be another container, and this container is then going to contain the items themselves. So we're going to come down. The width is set to 100, which is fine. But no, actually we're just going to change this maybe to percentage yet again, and then let's just set it to 65%. And then with the height we're just going to keep it at 50. Okay, so that is a little too large. Let's try and decrease it. I might need to check on the expand properties. And then I'm going to change the background color. So this is going to get changed to alternate. And then from here, we're then going to add in our text field. So we're going to click on this, then we're going to add in the text field. And this is going to be the text field that is going to contain the name of the task. So I'm going to wrap this around a row, and then within this row we can then add in our 2 buttons. So that's going to be the first button, and then this is going to be the second button. So this actual problem that we have here is bothering me. So let me check the parents to see if the issue might be here, or is it that FlutterFlow is being a bit buggy, because this is supposed to decrease, but it is not decreasing. Let's go back here. This is still not decreasing. Container properties. What is the issue? I'm going to wrap this in a row. Righty. Now this is working. Right, so let's just make it something like this. So right, so there we go. And then we are just going to quickly center this, and voila. Now we can click on the row, and then we are going to click here so that we are going to have a bit of space. We are going to select the buttons, and we are going to change the heights to 25. And then we are going to do the same here. We're going to set it to 25. And inside here, we are going to remove the text. And then instead, we are going to add in a check icon here. And then we are going to add in a delete icon here. Then whilst we're still here, we're just going to set the color to red. So that's going to be error. And then we are going to set this color to success. Right. So let's just increase the width here because it's looking a bit small in comparison to this button here. So we're going to just set this maybe to 25, which is going to look ridiculous. I know, I don't even know why I went for that. So we're going to set that to 75, and that should be fine. We're not trying to go for anything fancy. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come here, and we are going to change the border radius so that this is going to look a little bit more round. I am going to select this because I want a even border around. So let me just select the container again, and then we're going to do that again, and we're going to have it like so. Okay, cool. So these are our tasks, right? And then let's just try and move this a little bit further away. So I'm just going to set this maybe to 15, and voila, here we go. Now I am going to duplicate the tasks container, and instead this is then going to become completed tasks. And there we go, we have our UI. Now let's move on to the next thing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our data types, and what we want to do is we need to create an object. So in object-oriented programming, what the basic idea behind it is that when you're creating an application, you want to be able to simulate real world situations and real world scenarios. And in the real world, we have things or entities, and these entities have functions, and then they also have characteristics. In the computer world, the equivalent to that in object-oriented programming is you have objects. So an example of a person in the real world, a person can walk, they can sing, they can talk, and they also look a certain way. They have a race, and they have a height, and they have weight. If you have to simulate that in an application, so let's just say, for example, you have an application like Tinder, which takes your height, which takes your race, and or doesn't really take your race, but let's just assume that it does, and so on and so forth. When you want to create a person in that application, one of the best ways to do it is by creating an object. So what we are trying to do with this application is we're going to create an object, and then that object is basically going to be the task. And the reason why I'm creating it as an object is I want you to understand the concept of attributes. And so once you transition to databases, you understand how attributes and fields are synonymous. They're more or less the same thing. So here we're going to create a new data type, and the data type is going to be called a task, and we're going to create it. And then inside of here we have the schema. So the schema is basically now the attributes of the object, and in our case we are going to have two. The first is going to be a task ID, which doesn't really matter. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just be generating random strings, but this is obviously good practice for you guys to know, because whenever you're going to be creating things in a database, you need to be using you need to be using IDs for things there. So we are going to click on create, and then inside here we're going to then say task, as in the actual task now, or let's just say task instruction, just so that we distinguish it from the task objects that we just created. And then we're going to click on create. Oh, okay, so done, right? So this is our object. Now that we've created our objects, let's go into our app states. So what we now need to do is, within the actual application, we need to be able to collect and keep the tasks that are not done and the tasks that are complete. And to do that, we're going to need to create a list. Now within FlutterFlow, there's something called an app state, and the app states are basically variables that are accessible throughout your entire application. And these variables obviously have data types, and one of the supported data types is a list of objects. So that is what we are going to do. We're going to click on add app states, and then inside of field name we are going to say tasks, plural, and the task is going to be of type data type, and the data type is going to be of data type task, and it's going to be a list that we create. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add another one. This time we're going to say complete underscore, okay, no underscore, tasks, old habits die hard. okay, and then this is going to be of type data type, and it's going to be of type tasks. It's going to be a list, and we're going to create it. Boom. So we have a list of tasks and we have a list of complete tasks. Now we're going to go back to our application, and we're going to set up the first function, or let's just say before we do that, let's start off with a list view. Now what we want to do here inside of our list view, which I've selected, I'm going to go to the widget tree so that it's visible, is we would like to generate values, right? So we'd like to generate the values that are going to be contained within the two app states that we just created, which is our tasks and our complete tasks. So to do that, we are going to select the list view. We're going to go here to generate dynamic generate children from variable, and then inside of here we are going to just name this tasks, and we need to give it a value. So the value is going to equal to the app states, which is of tasks, confirm, save. It's going to ask you this. You're going to click on OK, and this is now what you're going to have. What I'm going to do is I am going to just click on the row, and I'm going to add a little padding there, so that way you'll be able to, you know, see the difference between the different rows. Or let's just set that to 10. Right, perfect. So now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to select list view. We're going to say generate dynamic, and we're going to say complete tasks, and we are then going to click on app states, and we're going to select completed tasks. We're going to click on confirm, and then we're going to click on save. We're going to click on OK, and then we're going to select row, and we're going to set the padding to 10, and inside here we are going to get to this, right? So we have our tasks, and we also have our completed tasks now. So before we move on to adding into the tasks array or list and into the completed tasks list, what we want to do is we want to tell FlutterFlow that the value here is actually going to be the value of whichever task is in that list instead of this plain text. So to do that, you're going to select the text. You're going to click on the set from variable or source icon, and then you're going to click on task items. You're going to click on available options. You're going to go to data structure field. You need to select a field, and you're going to select task instructions. Then as a fail safe, inside default variable value and UI display value, you're going to click in it and press the space bar for a space, and inside of here you'll do the same, and then you'll click on OK, right? And then inside of completed tasks, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select the text field, going to select on the sources icon. We are going to select complete tasks item, available options. We go to data structure field, selected field. We are going to set it to task instructions. Inside of here, we are going to leave spaces, and we are going to click on confirm. Now, perfect. Okay, so this might look a little bit off, but just bear with me. Right, so we have this. Now that we have this, let's move on to adding items into here, into our completed, into the tasks to do. So you're going to click on the button, and then you're going to click on actions, and then you're going to click on add action. And then inside here, what you want to do is you want to search for updates, and then you're going to scroll down to under state management. You're going to select update app state. Now inside here, we are going to click on add field, and then you are going to select tasks, and they are going to ask you to select an update type, where you are going to set click on add to list. Now when you click on add to list, they're going to ask you for the value to add. You're going to click in here, and then what you want to do, okay, so we're going to select tasks, and then after tasks we're going to click on add field, and then instead of this you're going to select the task instruction. So let's start with the task ID. You're going to click here, you're going to scroll down to random data, and then you're going to select random string. You can just set this to 0, and then this one is going to be set to 1000, and then you can click on confirm, and then you click on add field yet again. Then you're going to click on the value or the source icon, sorry, and then from inside here you'll select widget state, and you're going to then select the text field and click on confirm. So now we've added our object. So now once you've added your object, you also want to clear the text field over here when you're going to click on add. So to do that, we're going to click on the plus icon, we're going to add an action, we are going to search for clear, and we are going to select text fields. Now inside here, what you want to do is you want to select the text field itself, and then you're going to close. Now the text field one that you just selected is actually this text field here, right here. So perfect. Now if you click on this button, you're going to basically add or create an object. The object is going to have a random string for an ID, and the instruction is going to be taken from the text field. And then once that is done, it is going to clear the text field. Now here we have two more buttons. The first is to add items to completed tasks, and the second is to delete them from here if you made a mistake. So to do that, we are going to click on this button, and then we're going to click on add action, and inside here you want to yet again search for updates, and we are updating the app state. Then you want to select add field, then you're going to select completed tasks, and when they ask you this to select the update type, you're going to select add to list, and then when they ask you for the value to add, you're going to click there, and then you're going to select tasks items, right? Because you're taking this particular task that you selected and you want to add it in there. So you're going to click on that and then click on confirm. The next thing that you want to do, and we'll have to go open up the action flow editor for that, is you want to remove that item from the tasks list. So you removed, you took that particular task, you added it to the completed tasks. Now you want to remove the tasks from the first list. So to do that, we are going to add an action. We are going to update the app state, and then we're going to click on add field. We're going to select tasks, and then you want to remove it from that list. So to do that, you're going to say remove from list, and then they ask you for the value to remove, and then you're going to select tasks item and click on confirm. Done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this action. Why? Because when you want to now delete, you're going to do the exact same thing, right? So you're going to click on this, and then you are going to select the action, and we're going to paste the action, and then we need to change this, or actually it's going to remain the same. And then I just realized these buttons should not even be here. I forgot to remove them when I was cutting and pasting, right? So that's done. We can now obviously add tasks into the completed tasks, and it'll be removed from here, and here we can remove them completely just from here. And to complete this, what we're going to do is we're going to select text, and then from inside the text we are going to scroll down to text color, and we're going to give it a alternate color. Okay, that is not going to work. Let's just say yes, something like secondary text, and we're going to close that, and then we're going to style it as strike through, and voila. Right, so that is the entire application. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am going to run it now again, so that we just ensure that what I just taught you guys works. And this is going to take some time, so we're just going to we are going to now just add a task, wash my clothes. click on add, and boom, here's wash my clothes. And then I'm going to say iron my shirt and click on add, and that's done. And then we can also then take trash out and click on add. So obviously you might need to scroll for visibility purposes. And then I'm going to add to complete and delete. And there we go, our application is complete. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. Also, what you could do is you could leave in the comment section what other type of projects you would like for me to do for you using FlutterFlow. And you can obviously hit the subscribe button and push the bell notification button if you would like to be notified every time I release a video. Thanks for watching, my fellow shinobis. I'll see you soon.